Welcome to the finale of the Jersey City Marathon Prep. This is episode 4. I know it wasn't a big prep or a big documentation for my part. Just got caught up on a lot of things, especially with training and doing things with work. But first and foremost, I do want to say a huge thank you to everybody that kind of followed along that journey. And we did not hit a sub 250 marathon. We did a sub 251 marathon, which I'm very, very happy with that effort. So it's a lot to unpack. Let me take you with it and let's break down the full race recap. Let's go. Okay, so it's a lot to unpack like I mentioned before. So let's get right into it. Pretty much, I flew out from Dallas, Texas on Wednesday night, and I left here at 8 p.m. and landed in New York at 11 p.m. Stayed with my parents and pretty much where I used to live before I moved. It's only about 20 minutes from Jersey City, so it's very close, so didn't have to really worry about Airbnb, hotels, and all that. So Thursday, it was April 10th. Pretty much that was my rest day, especially after you fly, you always want to like kind of rest. That's how I do it. So unpacked, started fueling, and this is when I started my carb load. So usually I do it 3 days before race day, and honestly, I did not track. All I knew that is I was eating a lot of New York bagels. It's the only way to do it if you're in the East Coast, especially in New York. You have to get your bagels. So got a lot of those bagels in there, and it was a lot of rice, all kinds of carbs, and whatever I could honestly get my hands off. And then I also ordered the Gold Bars from BPN, Overton, my parents, where they live, and I was eating them like crazy. I think I ate 3 or 4 a day. So yeah, that was pretty much Wednesday and Thursday. Friday came, and then that's where I did my pre-shakeout run, and I only did 4 miles with some strides at the end. I also think I got a haircut, and then I asked for the day off from work that day because I wanted to go pick up my bib. I don't like going the day before race to pick up my bib, because once you get to the expo, you do a lot of walking, and I don't like that. So I always like to do it the day, 2 days before the race day. So whatever that day is. So this day was Friday. And I believe also got a haircut. You have to get a haircut before a race day. You have to. It's mandatory. If you don't get it, I don't know what to tell you. And headed up to pick up my bib at the expo. So I didn't have a car, so it took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get there. And then the expo, to be honest with you, wasn't big. Again, this race is not as big or known. It is getting big, to be honest with you, because I think 3 years ago it was about 5,000-6,000 runners. This year was about 10,000 runners. But again, it wasn't as big as your Philly marathons or your big ones that have 20,000 runners. So that was pretty cool about it. Got there, and then I got my bib, got everything I needed to do, and then right after that, went right into Chipotle just to carve up even more. And then I did some work at a coffee shop next door. And then this was a big mistake, because I stayed at that coffee shop for about an hour plus just to do some work, and then headed back home. I guess in that time when I ate Chipotle, and then I also got like a banana bread at that coffee shop, when I got in that train to go home, I will tell you, my stomach was killing me. Like, I was ready to explode. If you ever had that number 2 time tempted when you have to go and you can't hold it, that's how I was. And I had to hold it for about an hour and 20 minutes because, I didn't want to like stop and then rush out and try and find somewhere there to find a bathroom, because in New York it's a little bit weird, right? You can't really go to just ask for a bathroom. Most of them don't let you, whether it's a restaurant or a deli. So it was bad. It was bad. I was really like, I was sweating in the train. When I'm telling you, like, it was cold, like a little chilly that day, and I was sweating in the train. It was bad. And I kind of got worried too, because the way I saw it was like, man, like, I hope I didn't get another stomach virus again on this prep. So I was worried, and man, I got home and I let it rip. So that was Friday. Continued my carb load. And then Saturday came out, and then Saturday is when I did my 3-mile shaker run with some strides at the end as well. Continued to carb load, just rested the legs that day fully. I believe I only got like maybe 3,000, 4,000 steps that day. So that's pretty good, to be honest with you. And I just rested as much as I could. And then at night, my mom is the GOAT. She literally prepared chicken with pasta. That's always my go-to, like, for any race before that is, always chicken. I don't like doing meat. Chicken and then some pasta again. Just the goal. So that was sad. Boom, race day is here. It is Sunday. So I woke up at 4 a.m. that day. Just wanted to wake up. The race started at 7, but I wanted to wake up early just to make sure there was no issues. Thankfully, I didn't wake up with any stomach issues, so I was really happy about that. But I had the Gold bars next to my bed. Immediately popped one off, started eating it. Then went right to the bathroom, did my number 2, did my business there. I normally never drink coffee before any race or before any run. I know people do that just, I guess, to allow them to go to the bathroom more. I personally don't like that, so maybe someone's the same as me. But yeah, that's just my preference. And then I got ready, got my bib, my shirt, everything ready. And we left home around 5:20 a.m. The ride was about 25-30 minutes. It got a little bit of traffic once we got close to the race, but besides that, usually that time is not a lot of traffic, so that was really good. Got to the start line, not to the start line, but got to, I guess, the race itself. And there was immediately looked for the porta potties, one for one. The great thing about it is, even though this race again it has 10,000 runners, the porta potties weren't as full, and maybe it's because we got there early, which is good. So always arrive early for your races. So waited for a couple of minutes honestly for the porta potties. Did number 2 again. Don't forget to bring your dew wipes though, because those are goated. They're a cheat code anytime you do a race day. So always bring your dew wipes. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. But yeah, then we looked for my corral. I believe I was corral 3 for this race. And the great thing about this race is that it's not where, like the big races where you have to go to the Star Village and then, the people that are with you can't really be with you. I guess this was because it's a smaller race. Pretty much my family was there with me the whole entire time. So started to do my warm up on the side, and then I just heard my name, and it was a familiar face from Texas here, from Dallas, my guy Marco. So shout out to him. I believe he was shooting for a sub 3. I think he missed it by 10 seconds or something like that. But yeah, he's fast. He put it in the work. I know he's gonna get it. But yeah, boom. Before I knew it, we're at the start line waiting for the gun to go off. The great thing about this is that this race, this specific day, the conditions were perfect for me personally. Low 40s, not a lot of wind. I think it was super low, so wind wasn't really a factor. So I was ready. I was excited. Yes, I was nervous, but I was more than anything I just wanted to start running already. So immediately the gun went off and off to the horses. We started cruising, and I just one thing about me, where any race, I always just go to the right side and I just run my own race. I don't really like looking for any groups. If there is, but just do my own race. So we started going off, but I remember from the first mile, I think everybody was just going super hot, and I was looking at my watch and I was hitting 6:05, 6:10. So I was like, all right, let me cool off. So I took that first mile very conservative. I got at about a 6:31 mile per pace. That was good. Then once we started making that turn, we got to mile 2, and I was surprised because I had a 6:20 on mile 2, and I was like, oh shoot, this is bad. I need to back off. I can't burn the ships now. I need to cool off. So I started to cool off, backed off, and then from that to the halfway point, I believe I was trying to hit everything under 6:30 or 6:31, and I really did. I mean, I stayed very conservative. I was very happy with how it felt up to the halfway point, because as soon as we crossed the halfway point, I think I hit a 123 with 55. So that was really good. I think that was a little bit faster than I wanted to go, because I wanted to go around a 125.30, maybe a 124, but for me it was a little bit fast. So I mean, I felt great. So I felt strong throughout the half. Up to that point, I remember once we crossed the halfway point, I found this pack. It was 2 or 3 of us. I think this guy's name was Daniel, I remember, but I think he was going for a sub 250 as well. And we just when you find someone in the race, maybe you don't speak, but you just know, and you just know exactly what you guys are doing. So I remember we he will go in front of me, then I'll go in front of him, just pushing each other. And I believe we pretty much ran the race for most of it. I believe from mile 5 up to mile 22 is where we pretty much raced the race together. We were just next to each other. Sometimes he'll go in front of me, sometimes I'll go in front of him, but we're just going back and forth. So it was really cool. So that was the thing about that race. You just find people within that you're man, you just going through the pain together, which is really cool. Now, In terms of pace groups, I didn't see there was a 250 pace group. I believe it's like a 255 and a sub 3. But for me, like I said, I don't really like looking for pace groups. I like just doing my own race. I know sometimes with pace groups, there's a bunch of people together, and I personally don't like that because then you're on top of each other. You're trying to figure out like not to trip on this person, this and this and that. For me, for any race, I was like either sticking to the right or to the left, run my own race, and just I know what works for me. So I rather just stick to my plan rather than sticking to a pace group plan that they might go out too hot in the beginning and then at the end, everybody's cooked. So that was pretty cool. Now, once we had to have from mile 14 to 18, I felt strong as well. Like I was cruising, kept everything, pretty much all my splits under that 630, which was great. Now, I don't know what happened, but mile 18, I started to have a hard time breathing. I don't know if it was because I was maybe putting a lot of, over training. I don't know what it was, but I just was having a hard time breathing, and I was struggling to get air, and then my head started to hurt really bad. Mind you, there wasn't a lot of wind that day, so I don't know what was it. Thankfully, my coach, shout out to Austin, if he's watching this, from CIM, the one that coached me for CIM, great coach by the way. He was there because I believe he was there just expectating for his girlfriend. And I just remember him coming to the side, running next to me. And he's like, "Hey Santos, you're doing great, keep going." And I was like, "Bro, I can't breathe, I don't know what's going on." And he's like, "You're gonna be okay, you're doing good, you look strong, just hold on." So I was like, all right, and I just kind of put that in my head. I'm like, I look strong, I know I'm doing great. And by mile 20, like, it went away. I started feeling a lot better. So we got to mile 20, and this is where pretty much the hill started coming up. So that's where like the elevation goes up. So the thing with this race is that it's a 2-loop, right? So the first half is 1 loop, the second half is the same loop, but you kind of go the opposite way. So whatever you went down in the first half, you kind of have to go up in the second half. So that's where I felt the hills started going up, because I did see the miles from like I believe 8 or 9. There were gonna be some hills. I didn't really feel them like there were hills. It just kind of felt like just a regular road. But mile 20 is when you really started seeing the hills, and then it was mile 20 and like I believe like mile 22 and a half where there was like a long stretch, like a half a mile stretch that just never stopped ending. But yeah, so hit mile 20, got over that hill. I was like, all right, thank God we got over this. Like, there's no more. And then as soon as we got to like, again, mile 23, I believe, or 22, is where that half a mile just kept going on and just never ended. Now, the reason I was excited for mile 20 was because I knew it was the hill, but I knew that my brother was going to be there. Unfortunately, my brother never got there. Now, the thing with this race is that the track in itself was a bit iffy. I don't know if other people were being tracked, but you had to download this app and you had to carry your phone. I don't like carrying my phone in race days. I feel like it's an extra weight that I don't need. Maybe there was another option. I didn't get the email, but it was hard to be tracked. My brother couldn't track me. He only saw me like mile 9, I believe. And then by mile 20, I told him that, he had a water bottle for me ready with the Amon caffeine gel, which I was like, I needed that. Fortunately, it wasn't there. So I just said, it is what it is. I can't control what can't control. It's fine. It's not his fault. So that was pretty much what happened. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But so we got over that long stretch of a hill. The thing, it wasn't steep. Again, it was just like a long stretch that just kept going up. If you've ever been in one of those, especially like being at that specific point of the race, your legs are pretty much cooked. You just want it to end, but it just doesn't end. So that was pretty much that. And then I was just, man, like it was my legs were on fire. Like I just wanted to quit, but I just kept telling myself, don't quit, embrace the pain. And one thing that I heard from Floberg, I don't know if you guys follow him, he's like, if not now, then when? So I just embraced it, and I just kept pushing. I was like, I can't stop. I just have to continue, hold on to this pace. We're almost there. We're 3 miles out, a regular 5K. So I just kept telling myself that, kept telling my mind. And at that point of the race, to be honest with you guys, it's not a physical thing. It's a mental thing. I know it's cliche to say, but it's such a mental thing once you get to that point. Like, forget the physical aspect. It's a mental aspect at that point where you have to embrace the pain and your mind has to take over. Like, your body wants to stop, but your mind is the one that has to say, we have to continue pushing. So we got over that, then we went down a hill, and then we had to go like this long stretch from mile 24. Then we were gonna go right back into the city. Now, the thing is, like I mentioned, there wasn't a lot of wind. But going back into the city, I don't know what it was, but the wind was just hitting back us up. I remember once we got into the city by mile 25, all I remember was that this big blow of wind just started hitting all of us. And everybody talked about it. I seen people like, message a couple people message me as well. Like that specific point, the wind was incredibly crazy. I was like, what the hell? And I remember going into it, I was like, are you serious? Like at this point, mile 25, the wind is getting crazy, but I just had to embrace the pain. Good thing is that someone was like running next to me, and then I kind of just like, I don't know if this was bad, kind of went behind, just kind of, he was leading, but he obviously got a faster time than me. But yeah, I was trying to avoid the wind, but it was really bad at that specific point. Then it was like right into the city, got into it, going right into mile 24, 25. The great thing about it is that if you do the race correctly, at the end, you're gonna be passing a lot of people. And that was the case. That's when you know you kind of did things mostly correctly. Now, of course, people were passing me, of course, but I always like this point because, you know, once you get passed by someone, you're like, shit, like this sucks. But the great thing is when you start passing people, I was passing people left, right, people that were really ahead of me, and like I didn't feel like any kind of an ego thing, but more like, man, like, all right, like the game plan's working. Like I did what I needed to do. Now that's when I had to push the pace. But yeah, got to mile 25. I was giving my all. My legs were ready to give up. And I remember just as we were going down mile 25, right into mile 26, I felt a big pull in my left hamstring, which I was having already issues with. So I remember as soon as we got there, I felt a pull, and I was like, oh shoot. I was like, this cannot happen right now. So I slowed down a little bit. I didn't think about it and just immediately just try to brush it off my mind as much as I could. And I just kept going on, and then we got to mile 26, and it was like 0.20 left. And we crossed the finish line pretty much at 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 33 seconds. And man, I was so proud of that effort. I know we missed the sub to 50, but that effort for me, I was so proud of it. Now, the reason I say I was so proud of this effort is for two reasons. Now, before any kind of race, I always like to journal before, just to kind of get my thoughts, just to see like where I'm at mentally, and to be real with myself. And I told myself two promises that I wrote down that pretty much I wanted to accomplish at this race, right? Now, just to give you a little background story, if you guys don't know, I DNF'd from CIM back in December, which, you know, unfortunately it was things out of my control. I got food poisoning, but it always leaves that doubt of, man, like, can you complete this race? Can you complete this distance with that pace that you wanted to do? Can you do it, right? It leaves that doubt. Again, I didn't hit that sub to 50, but that 251 meant a lot more than me. So the two things that I pretty much promised myself when I journaled was, the first one was that I cannot quit. Like, I will not quit whether I have food poisoning, where I cramp up, for whatever reason, whether I have to run, walk, or crawl. I'm walking through that finish line. No matter what happens, I'm going to finish the race, and I'm going to get my damn medal, right? That was the first promise. The second promise was that I was gonna not stop moving. So I was not gonna stop whether it was for a cramp. I was just gonna continue moving, and I was gonna embrace the pain. And I go back to that point because, man, like, just to give you guys a little bit of, I guess, motivation. I don't know if it's motivation, but I remember I was just reading something, and I just wrote it down, and I was like, embracing the pain. Like, we only get to be in pain and suffering for such a short time of our lives. Like, right, most of our lives are good, right? I know other people, unfortunately, all around the world, they might be going through it. But for us, like, I know that, you know, we have a job, we're able to walk, run. Like, we don't go through that pain often. But we choose to put ourselves in that pain. And I just told myself, like, embrace that pain. Like, when that pain comes, I'm gonna smile back at it, and I'm gonna say, this is where I want to be. And I told myself, I will not stop. Like, I'm gonna enjoy that pain. And even though it sucked, even though my legs were burning, I was gonna enjoy it, and I was gonna be happy that I was gonna be in it, because we only get to be in that certain pain feeling for a short period of time of our lives. So enjoy it, embrace it, and I was so damn proud of that effort. Now, of course, the goal is still to achieve, it's up to 50, even it's up to 45. But man, this effort, I was so excited for it. So in terms of the race and the course itself, honestly, man, I love this course. Like I said, there was a couple hills here and there, but it wasn't a big factor. If anything, man, this course was really flat. I think anyone that does this is gonna be able to PR. I believe, so Strava tells me that my elevation was about 275 and Garmin tells me about 211. So it's pretty flat compared to Philly, which I believe was over 700. So the course itself is amazing. Like I'm telling you, like I love the course. I'm even thinking of doing next year again, just to really PR that course and really go fast. Now, in terms of the weather, again, the weather was for me was perfect. I know previous years there was like a rain, and then that kind of messed people's days, whatever. I know last year when my brother did it, it was good weather as well. So it's kind of a hit or miss, right? It's Jersey City, so you have to just kind of take your chance. But yeah, the course itself, man, I loved it. I enjoyed it. The energy was high. The people were amazing. The crowd was amazing, especially once you pass the halfway point, right? Like you just get so much energy. People were there. And I believe like also mile 9 or 10, there's like this group, I don't know if it's like a run club or whatever it is, but they're just going bananas. Like you just get so much energy from them. They're just throwing confetti, yelling, and you're like, yeah, let's go, what type of vibe. So pretty cool, man. The race is amazing. So highly recommend it if you ever plan on doing a race around that East Coast. Yeah, that was pretty much the full Jersey City recap from start to finish. And what's next for me now is I'm excited. I'm excited for the next marathon. Prep is gonna start in about a couple weeks now, but I can't wait to bring you guys along this journey. This one, I'm definitely gonna document everything from my first week to the last week, and it's gonna be a good prep. I'm really, really excited just because everything that I learned on this prep and everything that I learned on this marathon, like I'm like, all right, I'm figuring out things here and there, and you just kind of start figuring out. That's the great thing about marathons, right? Like there's always one more, and you always learn on that marathon what works, what doesn't, and you just use it for the next one. So I'm excited for the next one. Yeah, the next one I'm gonna do is called Last PQ Chance. I believe it's in Chicago. And man, I'm trying to go fast. I'm trying to go so freaking fast, and I just believe in me. Now, the great thing about this race, why I say it means a lot to me, is because it gave me such a belief that I can do so much more. Maybe, I think the sub 3 for me did that, but I didn't really do it for like the way this race did it. And what I mean by that is, I never thought in my life that I'll be running a 6:31 mile per pace for a marathon for 26 miles. Like that for me was like, if you would have told me that 2 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. Like, how can I sustain that? Like, I can only do it for 2-3 miles. And for you to do that for 26 miles, it just gave me this self-belief, like, man, I am ready to go fast. And it unlocked this new like ceiling of like, man, I'm ready. Like, I haven't even reached my peak. So I'm so excited to see what's next. And that belief of Si Se Puede has grown so much bigger with me, because I'm like, man, yes you can. Si Se Puede, you can do so much more. If you stayed this long watching this video, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. And I'm excited to see what's next. If you have an upcoming race, hey, good luck. Or if you did Jersey City, congratulations, crushed it. But yeah, I'm so excited. Again, follow me on Instagram if you wanna keep up to date with the runs, the preps, or what I'm gonna be doing. I'll put the link here. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'll put the link here. But yeah, I think the next week, the way it's looking for me is I won't be starting prep until June, because the race is in September. But for the next month and a half, I'm just gonna be building. I'm probably gonna be hitting around 45 to 50 miles a week, just staying consistent, doing some speed sessions there, not to lose those legs, that leg turnover. So yeah, but I'm gonna be documenting that. I'm having a cool challenge coming up soon. So appreciate you, appreciate everybody that watched, and as always, si se puede. See you guys in the next video.